you very much for joining us. It's been an interesting morning, to say the least. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down the line first of all and ask you all about your project. Essentially, it seems a little bit pointless me saying this. Why did you come to do this project? Certainly in your sense. But what was the factors that brought you up to making your film?
Right. So when we started making this film, Serra and I, we were in our final year of our degree at University of the Arts, so we were doing a media degree there. And I was sort of, at the time, lacking in inspiration. I didn't know what I wanted to do my final piece on, and even what I wanted to do on that. But it was actually one evening, I remember I was speaking to my mother and throwing out ideas. And I remember I wrote to her, like, what about Martian Dance and a documentary about them? And we'd never ever discussed that previously. So obviously Martian Dance is the band that my father was in when he was a teenager. And he was born and raised in London, and it wasn't until he met my mom that he moved around elsewhere. But I kind of grew up knowing that there was a lot of his history left in London that I'd never really explored on his side of the family. I only have my granddad. So it was just kind of like, it sounds strange, but yeah, once I got the idea, I just thought, well, I have to do it. And basically, it started off as an idea between my mother and I, and then I pitched it in front of my year at university, spoke about it with my course leader, etc. And really everyone seemed to gravitate towards it quite immediately. And yeah, and then after the pitching, we just started crewing up. It was a small crew, about 6 of the main crew, and then we had a few other people help us along the way.
And how long did it take you to put it all together in total?
So altogether, I think it was about 8 months, because it was the whole term was about 9, and the first month was kind of just developing the idea. Mm-hmm. So I remember I counted. Yeah, and then so altogether from sort of crewing up to finishing it was 8 months. Yeah.
Obviously, you get to show probably only a snapshot of everything you pieced together. What was it like to make those decisions of exactly what it was that you were going to include, and did you have to make any hard decisions to make it fit into a criteria that you may have been set?
Yeah, it was really difficult. We only had a 15-minute time limit. We had a 15-minute time limit on the project, and we obviously could extend that for personal use after, but for that particular assignment it was 15 minutes, so that was always the goal. It was really difficult and kind of disheartening at times to make cuts. We actually had interviews that didn't make it in the film, which was really, really hard. Not because they were good, and for me personally, it was great to sit and meet with everyone, really, because they all had a different perspective and a different memories of my dad and of the band, actually, and all the guys in the band. But I think that it helped to kind of discuss it with you and with the crew, and just get that objective point of view, because that was what really helped me make those decisions. But it was hard, yeah.
If I can get you to pass the mic down to George. George, can I ask you what led to the project?
Well, it's kind of almost the same reason. I was at uni, and I knew that I had to do a final major project. And I had a few scripts, and this particular script I had started writing it, I'd say 3 years before that. And that was when I had a cancer scare, which wasn't a scare, it was just me being drama queen. So I started writing it. It was just like the first line of the film. That's what I wrote when I was in a very down kind of mood. And throughout uni, I started developing the script. And when it got to the final year, I was like, okay, this could be a movie. So I showed my tutors, and they're like, okay, I like it. So then I started developing even more, like molding the script to what it is now. Yeah.
You've done a really good job of mixing the humour and the sadness.
Yeah.
Do you find that a hard process?
Not really. Other films that I've done throughout the uni as well, it's always like drama with comedy, and I think you have to balance, because that's life, you know, you have drama and then you have a little bit of comedy, otherwise it's just like too depressing. You know, I think it comes natural to me.
And what have you gone on to do since you've finished work on this?
Well, now I'm working at Picture House Cinemas, but just as a customer service. But I keep writing. I'm writing 2 features at the moment, and I have a few shorts. And I have like this goal to do at least one short film every year. So yeah, I'm planning to see what I'm gonna do.
Back to you, Amy. What about the same question to you?
Yeah, so we made this film when we graduated in 2017, so it's actually almost exactly 2 years ago that we finished it. So since then, shortly after finishing the film, I had a brief internship with a filmmaker called Tony Klinger. He's the son of Michael Klinger, who you might know, yeah.
Yes.
Which was great, and that was a few weeks working with him. And then after that, I actually just I didn't really do anything film-wise, to be honest. I was working in a pub, just kind of supporting myself, figuring out what I wanted to do, really. So that lasted like well over a year, I would say. I kind of kept in touch with friends of mine who are filmmakers, and you know, I wasn't really working and active as such. But it was this year, actually, I've gotten sort of back into it with circulating the film again, and I'm in a trainee scheme at the moment called the Grierson Doc Lab for people who want to get into fact-based programming and documentary film in general. So that's been really great, and I'm going to be getting a placement through their sponsorship as well later on this year.
If I can get you to pass the mic down, go on, same question to yourself, or are you, and do you as working together, is it something you really enjoy as well, as a secondary question to that?
Yeah, so you mean that how was the process in it, or what I have done after?
Both, really. How was the process working together?
Yeah.
And what are your current plans, future plans?
Yeah, so in terms of the documentary, it was quite a personal story for her. So I really enjoyed throughout this process, and I always supported her to, you know, like to find out the points, what she was very interested in, and then, you know, to really drive this story and then this process like very valuable for us. And I was always, you know, like feeling very grateful for it and always supporting her. And, you know, like as we were just a small crew, we were just like, you know, like going through like a bit more few issues, but it wasn't that much to, you know, like that was hard to solve it. So we were, you know, like really going on tracks, you know, like getting our archives, you know, licensing and stuff. So it was quite a different experience for me to be able to, you know, go through this documentary process, because I never done a documentary before this one as well. So it was quite a pleasing and, you know, like a different experience for us. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it throughout the whole, you know, process of it, really. And in terms of my career, yeah, so after I graduated from LCC, I did a year practical film course, and then throughout that I started, you know, working on other film productions that I knew from some friends. So I was just doing more like practical based work. And then after I graduated, I dig into more like, again, short films work that I knew from other friends and making my own. So I recently made my own short music video. So it's been like as a 4-minute short film. So yeah, that's it so far.
Is that available for people to see?
Yeah, I mean it's nearly finished. So I'll be now doing the sound designing and the color grading of it. So yeah, it's almost there. So yeah, once it's finished, I would like to apply for the festivals as well with that, definitely.
And how was the working relationship between you two?
I think yeah, we were quite close. We were, you know, like talking every day and going through the, you know, any problems or anything as in the story, and you know, like we were going through everything together and discussing and, you know, pleasing each other. And yeah, it was quite an easy communication, you know, going through between. So it really helped to support each other every time throughout everything. Yeah.
Back to you, George. Can you talk us a little bit through the whole casting process for your film?
Okay, so I worked with one of my classmates called Anna. So we had about 4 auditions. We had a lot of videotapes, you know, sent to us. For the main character, we had 1 audition. We saw a few people. For the first day, it was only the main character that we were auditioning, and then we saw Sean, and we were like, okay, we love him, we want him. And then we saw someone else that we really, really liked, but then it went to the looks of each person. One had a very strong kind of look, and I wanted him to look kind of like the boy next door, fragile. So yeah, it was a hard choice, but went for Sean. I don't regret it at all because he was amazing. Yeah, the mother as well was really hard because we had a good one, and then we had an amazing one. Her name is Lisa, but she was American, and I wanted it to be British. But at the end, I was like, you know what? Just gonna, it doesn't matter where she's from. You don't need to explain. You know, nowadays everything's so global.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that one was harder to find. We found him the day before. I'm happy as well. So yeah, it's all good.
You've managed to pull off some really nice location shooting there, which I thought not particularly helpful sometimes for whether you're a student or a professional filmmaker. Did you get it? Was it all kind of shot on the hoof? Did you get permission?
No, we got permission.
Yeah.
So I got a really good producer, Nicole. She's been in talking with the council, and they gave it for free. So they gave it the whole day for free. We got a lifeguard. The final scene wasn't supposed to be on the beach. It was supposed to be on the water. But then the water got really dangerous, so yeah, but we didn't need the lifeguard, but they provided us with everything. They were really, really nice.
That's really good. It's really
I filmed in the end of April last year.
Okay.
So we had planned to do in Brighton, but then we thought, you know, I think Southend looks prettier, you know, with the huts and everything. So they were helpful.
How many awards are you nominated for this Monday?
5.
5.
Really happy about it, yes.
That's
Yeah.
it, and it's quite. It was a surprise for us to see so many nominations come through for a short film. So I think, as you know, I can't go far enough to say that I think you've obviously done a really good job
Thank
to
you
have
very
impressed
much.
so many people. Back to Amy.
Thanks.
Obviously, you were nominated for an award as well,
Yeah.
and
Two,
to your
Yeah.
to your
We
surprise,
just found out yesterday.
For-
Yeah, best documentary and best short.
yeah.
well done. So, how's it been received elsewhere?
Very good. So the first time, so we finished it summer 2017, and we submitted to London Short Film
Yeah.
Festival, but were unsuccessful that time.
Mhm.
And I submitted it to Shorts on Tap. You
Yeah.
might know who they're a festival, but not like an annual festival. So they
Yeah.
actually do regular screenings,
Mhm.
mainly on Brick Lane and around East London. And that was last summer, so summer 2018. We submitted to them, and they really loved it. And it was actually through the program director of Shorts on Tap. He was a member of the jury on it was actually a music festival in Italy, but they were showing some short films around music, so it got shown there as well, which was really fun. I couldn't make it to that, but yeah, so those 2 times we got to actually show it at the Barbican, but that was a private screening for friends and families of the students, but that was also really amazing.
You know, we all, when we're doing these sort of films, we make discoveries, and how was that journey for you?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to summarize, but it was a roller coaster. You know, you go. I had a lot of doubts, like along the way, as you do. Like, you know, you just not in the idea, but like my ability to really see it through, because obviously I'd never actually directed before. It made sense for me to direct this because it was so personal, and I kind of, the vision of it grew as I went along. So, but yeah, it was tricky to kind of jump in front of, you know, from behind the camera to in front of. And at times, I mean, yeah, someone asked, I remember we were in the final edit and someone asked me, yeah, so how do you feel? Like, do you feel closer to him? And actually, just when we were fresh off of finishing it, I didn't. I felt actually kind of, I was really proud of the film, but I felt kind of like almost further away from him because I felt like we were so different. So I'd always kind of doubted myself in the, like, he was very creative and like free-spirited and impulsive, and I didn't see myself that way. I was just kind of like, you know, I'm like a planner and like just never really, just didn't kind of live life the way he did. I mean, that's a matter of the times as well, but and then that person was like, oh, but you know, look at what you've done, like you've made a film, and he was, you know, he was a musician, so it's not that far apart. And with time, I think after it had been out for a while and like been finished, I kind of was, I gradually sort of felt closer to him. And actually that came with like showing my family and showing my granddad as well, who I have a good relationship with. But he was, he's kind of very, he doesn't talk much about my dad, like that was his only child, and it's kind of a sensitive topic. But yeah, he was very moved by the film, so. And you know, to hear him say like, oh, you know, your dad would be really proud, like that meant a lot, because he, meant a lot to me.
Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit about how the other band members reacted to the documentary?
Yeah, so it's not fully mentioned in the film, but actually Duncan, the drummer, was the first person I contacted, and it was actually thanks to him that
he gave all the contacts.
That we got all the contacts. Yeah. It started with him, and we found that he was still kind of loosely in contact, but still in contact with not only the band members, but all of their friends and all the people that were in that social circle. So Duncan, and I contacted him on Facebook, and yeah, it was, I'll never forget that phone call. Like, he was so excited to meet me. Because he was really close with my dad, but they hadn't spoken since the 90s, and like his response was super positive. With the other two guys, and so Kevin Addison, and then he was a bit hesitant. He's the other gentleman you saw at Alaska Studios playing the guitar, because they had kind of not all rosy memories of that time with each other, and kind of how it all ended with the band, so, which I understood. So I think he was just hesitant to like go there, like emotionally, I think, and kind of maybe get reconnected with certain people. But then I found that like he was one of my favorite people to talk to, Kevin. Like, he was so open with me, and he asked me a lot of questions like off camera about my life, which I really appreciated. So, you know, can't thank him enough. And then the third member, he's not mentioned in the film, but he actually declined to be in. But I will say that, so Kevin, he's actually still in contact with him, and he did mention that he showed him the film, and he really liked it, and he kind of regretted not being in it. So like, that was nice to hear. Yeah, it's kind of a mix of emotions, but I'm on good terms with all of them. Yeah.
And does it feel good reminding people of the music? Does it give
you it was really awesome to bring that, and I've had people ask me, oh, you should try and like put together some kind of album or compilation of some sort, or unfortunately you can't find them on Spotify, but there's quite a bit on YouTube and elsewhere. But yeah, it felt great to sort of give the music a bit of recognition that it deserves, because yeah, they were pretty great.
So have you submitted the Goodbye to any other festivals? Has it been shown anywhere else yet, or are there any future plans of screenings at all?
Yeah, I've submitted to a few places around the world. I think got accepted in 10 or 11 so far.
That's excellent.
We screened in almost every continent but Africa yet.
Wow.
Excellent.
And yesterday we just got accepted into a festival in London, which is happening in September. I think it's in the Carlsson. So follow the Goodbye Short Film on Instagram to get any news and stuff.
And how does it feel? I mean, you know, you're quite fresh in your career, so to speak. How does it feel to receive the kind of accolade that it's received so far, and how does it feel to get positive reinforcement for your work? Because as a director, it's really, really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're always re-editing, you're always re-reviewing, you're always. And how do you go through that process? If there's a tip that you can give to an upcoming filmmaker.
I say that I got really numb making the film to whether it was good or not, because you get, like you said, you edit so much, you watch so much, you read the script so much, you don't know if it's good, you don't know what people are going to think until you send it to festivals. And you know, because you show it to your family and say, oh, it's very good, but then it's your family and your friends, and you don't know if they're good or not. But then when you get accepted into film festivals and then you get an email from, you know, the director from a festival and saying this is really good, when you get nominated for 5 awards, and it was my first nomination for screenplay, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think the screenplay is good. So that, yeah, is really reassuring, and you know, gives a little bit of gas to keep, you know, going towards the dream.